This movie is about the Minor Arcana suit of the cups. I have my table set up here with my tablecloth. I have a clear quartz crystal that I like to keep by me when I do readings, and then I'll place them on the cards when I'm not reading. Here is what is called a generator crystal. It's a clear quartz, but because it is so large, it really packs a wallop. It is a very strong crystal, often used for healing purposes. I have my white candle lit. I always have the white candle lit when I'm doing readings or any meditation. And I like to use an angel candle. You can get this at any grocery store, metaphysical bookstore, but I really like to call in the angels when I do my psychic or mediumship work. Now, in getting to the suit of the cups, we're going to begin with an ace. Remember that aces are always representative of the beginnings of things. So cups represent emotions, relationships, passion, love, could represent jealousy or disappointment in love. It just depends upon the card. You will see that there are some symbols here. We'll go over them later, but basically the dove bringing in the wafer of peace. It brings in strong balance and blessings. The five streams of water here are the five senses, and that the cups might overrule any of the senses, but it's that the emotions are felt with all of the five senses. So with the Ace of Cups, the cup is overflowing, and these little teardrop things are called yods, and they're blessings from heaven. And of course, as in all the cups, we have the hand holding up the cup, giving it, an added blessing. Now, if this card were to come up reverse, remember, it's only a slightly lesser degree of the meaning of the card, and it could represent false love or a false start in love. But normally I read the cards upright. Now, also, cups represent the 3 months of summer, whereas the wands, the Ace of Wands, represents springtime. So there is the Ace of Cups, a very beautiful card. Coming to the Two of Cups, we have two people that look as though they're exchanging something here. It represents the fact that they are exchanging love or a commitment of some sort. This could represent an engagement or a commitment in a relationship that has been going on for a while, and they're finally saying, we want to be exclusive with one another. There's a lot going on for us. We're on the same page. We're very like-minded, and it looks as though the man is taking a step toward the woman and offering her his love and his commitment. It's a very healing relationship. You can see the symbol of the caduceus here. They have what's called the Lion of Jerusalem over them, and to me that represents a very, very strong love that little can shake unless there are outside factors involved. The Three of Cups is a wonderful card because it could represent the culmination of the Ace, the Two of Cups, and the Three of Cups is a celebration of some sort. It could mean a wedding shower. It could mean an actual wedding. It definitely is an event. Some people see this as a very feminist card where women are getting together in a group, but it most definitely is a time of celebration. Sometimes for me personally, if the little pumpkin pops out at me, I get a feeling of fall time period. Now, if the pumpkin doesn't pop out at me and I'm asked for a timing for the event, I'll go to other cards in the spread or see what I get intuitively. But very definitely a very, very happy card. This could even represent, if next to the Empress or the Queen of Cups, either a baby coming or a baby shower. The Four of Cups is not so happy. Here we have a young man sitting under a tree. A cup is being offered to him, a cup of emotions or love. He's got 3 cups sitting in front of him. Basically, this is the grass is greener on the other side card. This could be indicative of a relationship that's been going on for a while, but it's lost its luster, it's lost its excitement. All of a sudden this person is a little bit depressed. They're not sure if they want to continue on. Maybe whatever the emotional attachment was isn't so important after all. And they're really having to decide, is this really good for me or is it not good for me? Or maybe I've had too many relationships and I don't know how to be successful in one. You know, it's a card of reflection, but it's also a card of someone who's dissatisfied in a relationship or in an emotional situation, that they have to decide whether they want to continue on or not. Now this is a cup of disappointment. A lot of people don't like to see this card for obvious reasons. Here is a person who is looking over the river. The river represents the subconscious mind. They have definitely had a disappointment in a love relationship or love situation. They see or they feel all is lost. There's no hope. Maybe they were the ones that wanted the relationship and the partner didn't. But if they would only turn around and see the 2 upright cups, it could be the situation is not hopeless, that there is still a chance. So if I get someone in a reading who's contacting me saying my boyfriend left me, my girlfriend left me, or my wife left me, etc., you know, I will say there is a chance for this to come back together. Just give it time. However, I will not say that in every situation. It just depends on the other cards in the spread and the feeling I'm getting for it. The last thing you want to do is to give someone false hope. Now, if someone tends to be suicidal, or they'll say if they don't come back to me, I'm going to kill myself, or I'm going to go stalk them, you know, try and give them a helpline number or try and talk them out of any dire decisions. But as the intuitive, as the psychic healer in you, you really need to read between the lines and ascertain what's truly going on with this person. And if you need to throw them a life belt, there may be a way to say, well, I don't see you getting back at this time, maybe down the road. Remember, I always say, please do not back someone against the wall and tell them there are no alternatives, there is no hope. You never want to do that, but you do want to be as kind but as truthful as possible. And besides, we as intuitives don't see the big picture, and we don't always have all the answers. It depends on the people involved in the situation and the choices that they make that ultimately determines the outcome. Here is a beautiful card. I love this. It reminds me of 2 children, very playful, very sentimental, nostalgic. To me, it's the karma card. When this card comes up, it represents a very karmic relationship, or that 2 people have been together before. Now, when we talk about spirituality and our lives in between our lifetimes and previous lifetimes, most of the people we encounter have been in our lives before, but possibly they were not romantically linked. To me, this is saying that this is a relationship that was romantic in the past, and it's come back to either finish or to continue on, or it's even a reunion of a very close childhood friend. It could be just friends and very innocent. It could represent going to a class reunion and talking about old times and sweet times, or when we were kids we did this, we did that. It could even be a reunion of brothers, sisters, that sort of thing. Maybe they've been separated their whole lives and they come back together and they talk about the past. But most definitely, it's a good card, it's a kind card, and there is a lot of symbolism here that if you will go over the card and look at them and see what the symbols mean to you, you'll get added information from this card. This card is the I've got to make a decision card. Evidently, there are a lot of choices for the person viewing all the cups. They've got to make up their mind about something, and it may be difficult to do that. So this is a caution to stop and think and weigh all the consequences. Maybe there are 3 women this person is dating, and he's trying to figure out, do I want any of them for something more than just dating? Am I just seeing an illusion here? Are there more things I need to know? Does something like full of jewels mean that there is a treasure here that I need to take a look at? Or is it an illusion of something that really doesn't exist? So I always like to call it the decorator card too. That's one of my tips. When this card comes up, sometimes I'll get a feeling somebody is either going to redecorate their surroundings or they're thinking about it. But this card is not having to make a decision at this point in time. It's just indicating that they're having trouble thinking about it, and their head may be in the clouds, and they're not very grounded. So it's a time for step back, meditate a little bit, write about it, and then see what really stands out as being true and honest rather than what's an illusion and what's deception. The Eight of Cups for some is a great card, and for others they don't like it. Basically, you have 8 cups stacked up here. It is a power number. 8s are power numbers, but someone has had a long-standing emotional situation or a relationship, and either they've come to the end of that relationship or they want something higher, something better. Or they're just needing to take time out to separate or go their own way for a while and to go within and see what's truly important. This is what I call one of the move cards. When this comes up, I think it might have to do with a move. Timing is involved. Timing's important. You have the new moon going into the full moon, so you can look at that as timing for the card. This could be a spiritual journey. Some people will walk away from what is important or what was important to them, like a lot of material possessions, the big home, 2 cars, and nothing seems to satisfy them anymore, and they just need to go on more of a spiritual journey and discover within themselves what is important. But it definitely is a card of movement and change. And I just want to add something to that. Does that mean if a relationship is breaking up that that person will not come back? No, it doesn't mean that. It really is a temporary situation until it moves into a more permanent one. Here is what we call the wish card. This is universally known through all readers. It's kind of a card of you will get your wish, whatever that wish is. You have 9 cups lined up. It can represent someone being highly satisfied with what is going on in their life. They feel like, on an emotional standpoint, they've really got it together. Things are going their way. It's a good time, and it's a little bit of celebration. Could mean a little imbibing. I don't see this as the card of the alcoholic, but it could mean, someone's really celebrated to the nth degree. But mostly when this card comes up in a reading, it shows that there's a lot of satisfaction, contentment, and a feeling of power within that. Here we've got the 10 of Cups. My goodness, we've got the rainbow with all 10 cups spread across it. We've got the happy family. We've got the children playing, the beautiful home in the background. This is someone who's attained it all. They have either the marriage, the relationship, the home. They definitely have their partner with them. It's a lifelong commitment. The children could represent animals as well. And the home is beautiful, and it's very nicely put together. So this is a card of great celebration, a culmination of a journey of the cups and happiness, great happiness. Now we all know happiness is transient, so if it comes up reversed, it could mean that someone has all these things but they're feeling a little bit stagnant. There might be a little bit of dissatisfaction. There may need to be a little freshness put into the family unit, the situation. Maybe a trip is called for, a trip overseas or a family vacation, just to stir things up a little bit. So when this card comes up with the Ace of Cups, maybe Two of Cups, I will see that as a marriage. So it is one of the marriage cards. Okay, cups represent water, emotions, relationships, but it also represents a set of characteristics for individuals. And as we move into the cups, we see that we have the page here. Remember that the pages are always indicative of the seeds or something that is just sprouting, something that is just beginning. Now, we talked about the Page of Wands being the messenger card, and the Page of Cups could indicate a message about love coming. You could get an email from an old friend if it's next to the Six of Cups, or an old lover. Most definitely, the cups can represent a younger person or a child. And when it represents a child, then I often see this child as very dreamy, head in the clouds. They have trouble paying attention. Maybe they have ADHD, but they are sensitive, moody, very deep. If this child has moved into a teenager, they might isolate in their room, play moody music, spend long hours by themselves with the shades drawn. They might write dark, meaningful poetry, or they might be a child who has a great imagination, is very, very sensitive, and may not be the school jock, but they may be more into the arts and into reflective activities. Again, with the fish popping out of the cup, it could be an unexpected romance on the horizon, and some people see it as a new love card on the horizon. So it just depends on the feelings that are garnered from the card during the reading. Here we have the Knight of Cups, once again emotional situations. The Knight is a young man. I always see the Knight as 20s to 35. This man could be a man very much in love, or he wants to extend his love or bring a proposal. I call this the proposal card. So you might have had the Two of Cups where two people got together, made a commitment, and then you might see the Knight of Cups, and to me that is a proposal of either marriage or let's move in together, or let's make some kind of a more solid commitment. That to me, it really represents a proposition of some sort. This could be someone saying, hey, let's pack our bags and go on a trip. So it is a card of trips and travel. It usually just means like a 3-day weekend or a week. It's not a long, extensive trip, but it is a getaway trip and a lot of fun. And so when you see the Knight, he has a lot of the characteristics, however, as the Page. This could represent a very dreamy young man who might have a tendency to get into relationships with emotionally unavailable women, or it could be vice versa. It could represent a woman who seems to go after emotionally unavailable men, a little bit too sensitive, may have problems living in the everyday world. Most definitely when they fall in love, it's passionate, it's sensual, and really there's a feeling of wanting to merge with that person and to be inseparable. And again, this could be someone who, when they're spurned in love, might take a very big dive and just go into a very dark place. A very emotional, sensitive person, but overall a very good person. The Queen of Cups, my card. So some of the things I'm about going to tell you, you're going to find out a little bit about me, but not everything pertains to me. Here is the Queen of Cups, ruled by water. She's very intuitive naturally. She's a dreamy sort of person herself. She is one who will do a lot of reflection. She gets a lot of interesting dreams. She pays attention to her dreams. She has a lot of psychic powers and could be a healer of some sort. So she might be a Leo, but this card could represent a healer in the spread. And we were talking about what the significator card is last Tuesday. Remember, the significator card, if you choose to use one, let's say I am getting a reading, this is the first card that's laid down representing me in the entire spread. So the question was asked, gee, I've heard that people do that in their spreads. The reason I don't use a significator card is because there may be another Queen of Cups in the equation, and to me that is taking one card out of the deck. So we know who they are. We know who's getting the reading. So we really don't need to use this as a significator card, and the same with all the other court cards. This woman is the go-to woman. When someone wants an emotional lift, then this woman is usually there to provide it. They are the fix-it person, and they have a tendency to have very few boundaries, so they could become the victim, and they have to be very careful that they don't let people unload their troubles on them or dump on them in a way that is detrimental in the long run. She's dreamy, mysterious, but I will tell you, when this woman has had enough, she may be kind and generous and sweet, but when she's had enough, there will be a flash of temper that could scald a room. So be very careful around the Queen of Cups that you don't overstep your boundaries too much, because she will turn on you and become a little bit scary in setting her foot down and saying, that's it, you know, that's it, I've had it. It won't be said in a kindly way. It'll be said very forcefully, and so just, you know, take that for what it's worth. The coloring on, and I forgot to mention this, the coloring on all of the court cards for the cups, you have usually light hair, light brown, reddish, to blondish, blue eyes, green eyes. Now that is not always cast in stone, but very often if you're looking at a court card in the cups, then that could represent the coloring. Remember that the 4 suits for the cups court cards are Scorpio, Pisces, and Cancer. Those are the 3 sun signs that represent water in the tarot. Trying to see if there's anything else. This woman could have a proclivity to addictions, especially alcoholism. She could be prone to female hormonal problems, depression, moodiness, or maybe even a little bit imbalanced or unstable. She's been called wishy-washy, but when this woman has attained her own and really feels fairly secure and stable in life, has set her boundaries and knows when to stop, when to keep others from treading on her territory, she's quite a person. She really, really is quite a wonderful person to know. last but not least, the King of Cups. You know, could represent a light-haired person, blue-green eyes, but that doesn't have to be absolutely cast in stone. This person is very, very much into family, into loyalty, can represent a married man, or at least has been married. He could be someone who, again, is highly sensitive, almost sensitive to a fault, but usually has his stuff together, unlike the Knight, who might be more toward the darker side of the Knight of Cups. This man usually comes into his own and it has a fairly good grasp on things. Now, he could be the dreamer. He could be the entrepreneur that is always waiting for that next opportunity or for his ship to come in. His emotions as well might be a little bit rocky. His moodiness might be a factor in a relationship. But he's very, very sensitive and intuitive himself. He could be in any profession having to do with the arts, therapy, counseling, a teacher. He could be the curator of an art gallery, psychologist, psychiatrist, anything to do with interacting with others and being of service. He could be a good researcher. He doesn't mind being on his own for long periods of time. Archaeologist maybe, librarian, you name it. This person is really not going to be out there real active. If he's out in the field and real active, it may not be a comfortable place for him. He really likes his cozy surroundings. He likes his status quo. And so there is your King of Cups. Read your book. There's more about the King of Cups. He most definitely is a man that once he falls in love with the right person, quote unquote, you know, he wants to stay married. This is not a man who does well if he goes through a divorce and he's left on his own. He'll usually try and find someone else right away to fill the void, because this is, although he likes his alone time, he likes his family base, he likes his children close by him, very loyal to his children, and could be loyal to an ex-wife even, which to the consternation of maybe the new wife or girlfriend, that could pose a problem. Okay, now once again, I will say the downside of the King of Cups is he's not always reliable, and he could be going along and then he disappears for periods of time, and that might bother people. But once he's settled into a situation that is good for him, and it seems like there's a great amount of complementary energy between two people, or in an emotional situation, he's someone you can count on, but it takes a while for him to get there. Okay, so that's the end of the cups. We're going to do the swords next. And just really enjoy the cups, go through the cards, look at the symbolism. I did mention the Eden Gray's Introduction to the Tarot. That is definitely a book you can order on Amazon.com, and it may be used, but it really does go into the symbolism of the cards, which we don't have a whole lot of time to do each 78 cards of the deck going into the symbolism. So it may take a little bit of effort on the student's part. Okay, thank you all.